And welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sweater47 here, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. C.H. Gorog. It's been a long time.
Howdy. Yeah, it has been a very, very long time, and it's reunited, and it feels so good. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, same here. As we're on the, and I still remember this. We're on 151. This is the 151st episode of the Bloody Thumbs podcast. We're still alive. We've just been lately. We've just been kind of doing our own thing here. Just being bit inconsistent.
We've been in
stuff.
our cocoons, waiting to emerge as beautiful butterflies, or horrendous moths. Either way, you'll know.
You'll find out once we wrap this up. But
if your linens are eaten, then you'll know that we're moths.
Exactly. So all has been well with you, sir. You've been gaming.
Yeah, I have been doing a steady stream of games. I downloaded the Dark Souls.
Oh my goodness!
2 days ago, yeah, for as one of the, being waiting till the last moment seemed to pay off for me, because I was about to order Dark Souls Online about a week ago, and then I saw that it was actually coming out for free on Xbox on demand for people who have gold subscriptions. So I just downloaded that sucker for free.
I'm really actually liking the Xbox free games for gold. It's about damn time that they implemented this, because PS Plus has been doing this for years, and it took them a long time to do this. Just because they're doing it doesn't mean you can't do it either. I mean, it's a great bargain. Since you're paying a monthly fee to be a gold member in order to play online and have some sort of features involved. But now they're kind of implementing away a little bit with some of the in-app stuff that required gold before. I don't think Netflix requires gold anymore. Just
nope.
The view stub, which is great. So they're slowly but surely seeing the light, but they still got a long way to go. And in terms of making that gold subscription that much more
worthwhile.
Worthwhile, yeah.
And the big thing that was going on was Microsoft had, at the onset, it was gold paid for. Like, the gold seemed to be like the better offer, at least for the Xbox 360 in comparison to the PlayStation 3. We're not even going to talk about the Wii, but it was it was allowed you to play online and get all those programs that you wanted and apps, and then they started to advertise on there. And then it was strange, because they advertised to different gaming related stores or companies, and you start thinking okay, why don't I see any of this product? Why isn't my rate? Why are my rates going down for a yearly gold membership? And then they started to do things like they upped the price. I remember when they upped the price of Xbox Live. And specifically citing, we need it to cover the costs of things like Facebook and and like those other apps that they got rid of like 6 months later, and they didn't put down the price, and it was like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me. And then they've been playing pretty much catch up for a long time, and now they're at the onset of last year, they decided to say okay, fine, we'll start to do that more. And so they've been doing things like releasing Gears of War, which is the acclaimed and fabled herald of difficult video games everywhere. Because I can certainly attest to that. I'm in the second area, and I'm getting my ass kicked by skeletons. And I know it's the same damn skeletons from Skyrim I could kill in 2 swings, but these guys just oh my goodness, they are the Ray Harryhausen skeletons. They will not let up.
It's crazy, but I actually I'm digging what they're going for nowadays. Some of the games I'll actually go ahead and download for free. I'm actually curious about if you're still able to play those after you maybe have a basic subscription ended. I don't know if there's some type of code in place that will check and see if you have gold, and then if you don't, you can't actually play the game. That's what I'm curious about, but I'm not sure. I can't really attest to it, but I'm digging some of the offers that they're having in there. Some of the games I'll go out of my way to download, but even though I have a really basic internet connection, it'll take me a while to download. I mean, it took me a long time to download well, I'll get into it later, but I downloaded and played the new Tex Murphy game, which was about it was about a 13 gig download. So that took me almost half a day to download. I really got to up my internet speed. It's like the very basic.
Is it still connecting through AOL?
It's almost it's not even as bad as that, but it's basic and compared to other people's download speeds, as I've heard, 30 up and 30 down. That's crazy. I wish I had that speed.
Good God,
that would be amazing.
Yeah, and speaking of games that we are playing, what are you currently playing?
I'm playing a few things here now and then. I mean, not really much. I didn't buy Watch Dogs. It didn't interest me as much, and reviews have been pretty mixed on it. I'm kind of waiting for a price drop, and maybe I'll consider it getting for the current gen. But I've been playing a few things, and it sounds like you may have played Watch Dogs. I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say on it. But I've actually been playing right before we started this podcast. So finally, after about 2 months, maybe about a month and a half, I'm finally playing Hitman Go for the Android now. It's a mobile Hitman game that first came out on iOS. It's really a good game. It has a lot of the elements as traditional Hitman games does, but it's not your traditional Hitman game. It's not in 3D. It's more like a top-down table view, and all the enemies in 47 are crafted into this kind of chess piece model replica of the characters. So pretty much it's just a matter. It's very designed like a chessboard game. But it's all very puzzle-like and strategic, much like the actual game. So a lot of trial and error, and there's a lot of different objectives you can get done on each level. It's basically you're just moving one turn after the other. So there's different enemies in place that. There's some that just stand there, and there's others that move and kind of go in their own pattern. So you move, they move, and just kind of time it just right in order to get past them. Each mission will have pretty much the same objectives. You either you have to complete it, and the other one is collect your briefcase, and the other one is sometimes kill your target or complete that level in some particular amount of turns. And it's a lot of trial and error, and much like the Hitman games that came before this. But I'm really digging it. It's I have not yet got to the point where I can play the. There's a level and there's a couple of kind of a map. There's different. It's broke up into different segments here, and each has its own design. Like it's almost like its own created box, its own game. It's like a different world. Like we got World 1. Its design has a box, and you can select from the menus. There's one box that's all inspired from the Hitman Blood Money level. So I'm gonna kind of get to that point so I can play some Hitman inspired levels in there in the form of this top-down table view game. So yeah, I mean it's really cool. If you actually take a look at like some videos online, maybe it'll make more sense than how I explained it. But you can kill enemies. There's really no blood. It's not as graphic as the other games. Just is basically as simple as just knocking a piece over. And if you walk into an enemy, they'll kill you. And it pretty much is like animation of the two figures bumping into each other, and the other one tilts over. That's the death scene right there.
I wouldn't be surprised if everyone was just like, "Wait a minute, this is chess." I gotta go.
It's really good. I'm glad that they finally came out with it for the Android version. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's much like a puzzle game, it's very strategic. You just have to time things just right, and also there'll be environments where you can pick up an item and just throw it in classic Hitman fashion, and then the enemy AI will just walk towards the area that you threw that piece and just kind of pass by them, and you can play the game how much any ways you want it. It doesn't really fault you in how you play it. You can kill everybody in that level or not. But basically, if you want to unlock all the other levels, you're either going to do an in-app game purchase, or you just you either do that, or you just you complete all the objectives that are in each level, which are pretty simple to do. So you really don't have to really spend any money to unlock these other levels.
No fee to pay, huh?
I'm not doing that. As much as I am a fan of Hitman in general in that franchise, I'm not gonna go that far and cheapen the experience. It just cheapens the experience for me. I'm paying $5 for it. It's not a bad deal. So I might as well get the most out of it and play it and actually unlock these levels, deservedly. So it's very simple to grasp, and sometimes there'll be all kinds of sorts of enemies that they'll throw into you, and you just gotta. It may take you a while to get it, but it's really rewarding puzzle game right there. Really good.
I got you. Well, do you happen to know if it's available for the iPhone?
It is. That's where it came out out for at first. Around April, it came out for iOS, and then they said they were going to come out with the Android version around that time. And I've been waiting for months for it to come out, and it just came out today actually on Android.
Oh, very cool.
So yes. I definitely recommend Hitman Go CH. It's available for iOS, so you can definitely go ahead and give that a try. It's only $5. It's you'll get a whole lot of it. There's a lot of levels in each world / map, so you'll definitely enjoy it. It's very simple to grasp, and it's got some music from traditional Hitman games like Ave Maria, and then some other gems that Jesper Kid has composed, and some other simple ones that's been made for the game. So it's really good. I actually, all my biases aside, I quite enjoy it. It's very, very simple. I don't play a lot of mobile games for the most part, but that was one that I've been looking forward to since it's been announced. So it's definitely worth checking out.
I gotcha. Is Hitman Go as good as the 1990s movie Go?
I mean, it could go either way, man. I mean, it's just a matter of how you want to look at it. But me being a Hitman fanboy, I gotta go with Hitman Go.
Alrighty, well that sounds like a ringing endorsement, and I will. It's funny because I actually ordered Hitman Absolution a while back.
Oh man!
And they got my order mixed up, so I went to go order it again, and they ran out of stock. So Hitman Absolution is on the next docket, along with Hitman Go.
Oh man, it's just been a whole cycle here with you, just delaying the process of you playing it. First off, you couldn't, you try to download it, and then it almost crashed your system, and then you
won't go past main menu. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's just like, oh, like, hey, like, would you like to play? Sure. Like, what difficulty? I guess normal, just to test it out. And it's like, nah, can't go any farther.
What would you rate the main menu? I mean, the main menu is pretty damn good. I actually think it's pretty good.
Main menu, it's nice. It's easy. Like the layout is good. It's not confusing.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you have the side contracts alongside the main story, but there's no I feel like it's done all in service for clarity's sake.
Yeah.
Like to heavily showcase what it's all about, rather than take any maybe interesting stabs at stylistic things like, say, Escape from Butcher Bay or Brutal Legend, which are the gold standard for it. But it is certainly a step up from kind of drab, kind of regular main menus, like, say, for instance, Call of Duty, or any of the actually, thinking about it, it's even better than some things like Dishonored, where it's kind of the plain sort of looking things. But I would give it 7 or 8 out of 10.
Raven review. I mean, I like to say, like, main menus are an underrated factor. I mean, I think they should be accounted for in some ways, because even like with DVDs,
they're like the album covers of video games.
Exactly. Like, I hate DVDs that just have a basic static image of the movie, and that's it, and there's like no interactive menu or anything. I like menus that go above and beyond to really get you interested in just looking at it and playing and just hitting the start button. Like, Enslaved had a good main menu, and
oh my god, that was a beautiful main menu.
Warhammer 40K Space Marine was an awesome menu. You just seeing this Space Marine just killing a bunch of what was it, like a bunch of trolls, and just watching that whole thing, that was just amazing. And it's just very far and few between great main menus.
What's really, really awesome main menus is the extended editions of Lord of the Rings movies. Just that slow pan over from like all the candles and books and like all the props of the trilogy over to the book, which has like all the chapters. Like that's cool. Love that. One of my favorite movies of all time is True Romance, and the collector. I don't know if it's the director's cut, which also includes I think the regular theatrical cut. But the main menu is just gorgeous because there's all these close-up memorabilia within the film. Like it has Patricia Arquette's tattoos, and it also has a lot of like the guns and a lot of the really close-up stuff. Like I love that, just the detail that goes into it.
All I'm saying is, I mean, developers, come on, moviegoers, movie DVD makers, just I mean, go above and beyond your DVD menus. That's all I got to say about that. I forgot. I was going to say something else. I forgot.
I also like this interesting trend of reversible covers. Like you had Mass Effect 3 with the female Shep and male Shep on both sides. Then you had like Bioshock Infinite with like the really standard looking, like you could barely tell it was a Bioshock game with just Booker looking very serious. And the other side is this really artistic, almost Dr. Seussian looking rendition of Columbia and Songbird, and I just like that a lot, where they're really experimenting with the form, and also just main menus. I love main menus.
Exactly.
Also, another one is Star Wars Rogue Squadron, where you're just in the hangar and you're going past all like the screens and like going over to the hangars to use your vehicles. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and I actually remember what I was going to say, but to go back on Hitman Absolution, yeah, you definitely something you definitely should play. I liked it for what it was. It's not traditional Hitman Blood Money. If you really like Blood Money a lot, it's not really going to fill the void for Blood Money, but it's still, as a stealth game in itself, it was really well done. I thought a lot of the elements of the series has been improved in terms of AI, and just the atmosphere has been notched up to 1,000 on that one. It's just so good, and the dialogue of NPCs are so well written and hilarious. Just reminds me of like a Quentin Tarantino movie. That's how kind of out there it was written. It just I liked it for what it was, but they've also did announce, may I say, that there is another Hitman game in the works.
Oh yeah.
And they've said that IO has said that it's going to go back to the Blood Money roots. It's going to be very more non-linear, very large levels, and I'm really looking forward to that on just next gen. Man, I'm excited.
Money.
I'm excited. Money. And to go back on the main menus, this may be a little contradicting, but but this was good actually. Now I think about it, the Blood Money main menus was very simple. But if you ever go back and play that game again, you'll notice that after each level, in the beginning of the game, you start off the main menu with 47. He's presumed dead on the on a casket, and there's a bunch of all the other targets that you're going to be killing in that game. They're all in the cathedral, just sitting there. And then after you play each level and you go back to the main menu, you'll notice that all the enemies main targets you kill off start disappearing from that main menu till the very end. There's like one guy left, and the guy in the wheelchair.
I did not notice.
That's fantastic.
Well, it's one of those little touches that just go very, very unnoticed, and good on the developers for taking that extra mile and just putting something in there like that just makes it, I don't know, so much more immersive and interesting.
I mean, that's what you get as a Hitman fanboy as me, and has played Blood Money countless times. That's one of the small things that I really love about it that I've noticed. So, yeah, very good. Good on them. And they also did announce as well as another mobile game for Hitman coming out soon. So, as another thing to look forward to, another mobile Hitman game being worked on by the same, believe the same developers as Hitman Go, the Square Enix Montreal. So they're getting going here. Square Enix is getting their act together, putting some things out here.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Hitman is one of the only sort of Western properties Square Enix has acquired that has been successful for them.
That, and I think that's for the most part is what they got. I mean, they also have Tomb Raider as well. I think Tomb Raider did somewhat well. I mean, they did well those games, but they had too much high expectations for those games that they have. Like Absolution,
oh my God.
Absolution and Tomb Raider did sell very well for games that haven't really, for franchises that haven't had a game in a while. A AAA game, but they just expected too much from out of those games. But
yeah,
that's the industry we live in. We pump in too much money into those games, and you may not get always the financial return. But I'm sure you do, but not exactly right away. But those games are good. They're always up for sale, great for incredibly cheap for PC and all other consoles. So I definitely recommend highly to get those games if you haven't played them yet. Yeah. Tomb Raider and Absolution, just very good game, solid games.
Absolutely.
So I've been playing that Hitman Go. We can probably get into a little bit of, since we've been away for a couple of months. We haven't discussed the latest Walking Dead episode and the Wolf Among Us episode.
Ooh,
we got that, and I could get into a little bit of the Tex Murphy game I played. I've beaten that already. I liked it a lot. It was good for what it was. It's very old school point and click adventure, and with FMVs. That's really much about it. The FMVs are really well done. I liked it a lot.
Was someone almost a Jill sandwich back there?
Almost, man.
Oh.
There was a moment there. I think that it could have become a Murphy sandwich. I liked it a lot. I mean, it has. If you've ever, since I've never beaten the Tex Murphy games, I have played a good hour of it. But it's very made for those audience who were a fan of the Tex Murphy games. But it's still enough there to gather newer audiences. I've become kind of a fan already after playing that game. It combines a lot of elements of like noir and science fiction. So it's a little bit between the like Blade Runner and some maybe Humphrey Bogart films, but.
Ooh, okay. You piqued my interest with both of those comparisons.
That and then it's also got a weird and funny sense of humor. So that if you know anything about the Tex Murphy games, they also have their kind of weird, funny sense of humor. And there's some pretty good performances by the main guy who does Tex Murphy, and appearances by Todd Bridges as well in there. It's one of the kind of alien mutated guys you stumble upon. So it's very dystopian future, San Francisco. There's radiation out there, and so we get kind of mutants there as well.
So it's more Blade Runner than the Book of Eli, where civilization is still intact.
Civilization's still there. It's more Blade Runner than anything else. Definitely Blade Runner inspired, and very noirish, and what it kind of has their narrative being kind of told and being explained to by Murphy and Thought, so he's kind of narrating some of the plot points there, just thinking in his head and speaking to himself. You got that, and just some quirky humor with some of the other folks you meet in that game. Not a lot of people you meet in there, but there's some regulars that you may be aware of from the past games. But they do a really good job at explaining some of the backstories and the way that they interact with each other. You kind of get an idea pretty well on how these characters are, how they know each other, and what their relationship is. So pretty old school classic point and click adventure. It doesn't really get too hard. There's some points where the puzzles are really complex, but it has two different types of difficulties. There's the casual, where it pretty much kind of tells you where everything is that you need to collect by pointing the flashlight, and just you'll see the items that highlight they kind of sparkle. And there's just the normal kind of gamer mode, where he just pretty much doesn't tell you anything. You can't compare it to like the casual mode. Like if you collect enough points by finding things on your own, you can actually just solve the puzzle without really having to do it. You just spend points to have the puzzle be solved for you, but in comparison to the other mode where you just have to really figure out everything on your own, and it's just more I went with that mode, and you can really miss vital items that you have no idea where you need to go, and you just have to retrace and re-step back to certain locations to see if you missed anything, compared to like the other mode, which I was seeing someone play, and it just went through that game with a breeze because everything was just pretty much told yeah, pick that up. Go ahead and pick that up, and if you can't solve this puzzle, then spend the points, and it'll solve it for it. So it's really two different lateral moves they can go with on this game if you really want to get into that very old school, nostalgic point-and-click adventure.
Now, is it similar to the Secret of Monkey Island and Secret of Monkey Island 2 hint system, where it, I don't know if you played those special edition versions of those games that were released a couple of years back, but it's like one hint of one hint of the hint button, like one push of it is a very general hint, and the next one's more specific, or is this one just like all of it out there?
It doesn't go really that in depth. I played older school point and click adventures, but it's really just a matter of finding certain items that will unlock that will advance the story further, and also allow you to progress. Like there may be some pieces of a puzzle that you need to collect around an area in order to use those puzzles and combine them together in order to open a door. It's just kind of as simple as that. It's really not anything too in depth like some of the maybe older school point and clicks where you just doing select item, point,
oh my god,
use, look, get, all that stuff. It doesn't get that in depth. Oh, thank God, because I don't have the patience for that.
There's one puzzle element I will never forgive Tim Schafer for, and that is in LeChuck's Revenge, the second Secret of Monkey Island game. You have to use a monkey on, I think it was a fire hydrant, and it's funny because it's a monkey wrench. It's like, listen, no one's gonna get that. Like, so just like stop. Just like you got to make that far more obvious.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty much as kind of simple as that. It doesn't get too in depth with that. There's definitely some puzzles there that you could definitely really wrap your head around, and some of them that are just kind of really out there that takes you a while to figure out. And once you figure it out, you get that acknowledgement. It's like, damn it, this is so simple. I could have figured this out in a minute if I just looked at it at this perspective. It goes it can go either way with that, but it's mainly just there in tidbits to just pretty much tell you the story. It's very very story driven, with those FMVs. There's also a conversation system as well. You can choose the different dialogue, which is one of the small things that I had not too big of issue with it. Just some of the choices you make in terms of the dialogue is very vague, so you can't really see where he's going to go with it. But some of it can flow. The conversation can flow pretty well, and sometimes it can just be some of it can just go not really well out of the.
Is it like LA Noire style of like?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's not what I meant.
Yeah, a little bit. It's not too bad, but it kind of gets the conversation flowing. I believe there's a few different endings that in the game as well, so there's definitely some replayability on it. A lot of the choices you make, they're not very much in there. It's one of those games where, depending on maybe how you talk to somebody or what you do and where you go first, I think it has more of an effect than just basically saying yes or no to something than anything else. It's not as clear cut in terms of choices you make and that have an effect on the ending. It's very obscure, so that's a pretty good thing there. No, it's good. I liked it a lot. It's got its funny moments. It's got its head scratching puzzle moments, but I like the way the story was told. I really liked definitely the direction they kept with it. It is what it is. I mean, it's a modern FMV game. It's pretty much. I mean, if that's what you're looking for, if you need to scratch that FMV game itch, this is definitely the one to definitely sink your teeth into.
I gotcha. And is it a self-contained story, or is it episode 1 of 5, or?
Oh yeah, it's for the most part just I mean, there's levels that are split up into days. It's almost like that, but it's not really. I think they're kind of almost try to tell it in not really episodic way, but the chapters in the game are kind of. Each chapter will load into very noirish title screen. It'll have it'll have sort of quotes or references from noir movies, and then they turn it around to very kind of slightly comedic, and it's a slightly comedic title. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but if you ever see the opening titles for each chapter, you'll kind of get what I'm saying. But
like the Maltese Falcon, or
exactly, it's I'm trying to think of one
Naked
here.
City or something like that.
Yeah, they go either like for example, like the Brave and the Bold, and then ... or the Brave and the Dumbest, or something like that. It's almost like that. They kind of twist things around, like some of the very you'll notice the very classical referential noir titles for movies and things like that. They'll kind of turn it around and kind of make it in a kind of comedic way. So the game goes all different sorts of directions in terms of tone. So it's interesting. If I never thought I'd actually see a modern FMV game these days, but due to the nature of them game getting kickstarted by fans of that series, it's good to see them actually get that game out and put out a game that they want to put out for those niche fans that want to get into FMV games, and also for just the loyal ones that have been a fan of those previous games for a long time and just wanted to play more of that.
I gotcha. Well, I like point-and-click adventure games. I've been hearing some good stuff about Tex Murphy and how it was funded through Kickstarter. I wasn't really entirely sure what the story or the type of franchise it was, but very interesting to hear, especially with the FMV status of it.
Oh yeah, definitely worth. Definitely would recommend you guys check it out. It's only like I believe it's $20 at the most, but I bought it before it came out, so they had it on slightly like a 10% off. So I think I got it for about $17. So saved a few bucks on it, but it's still worth checking out. Who knows? It may go under a Steam sale for maybe $10, but either way, I think if you're looking for that type of game, point and click or FMVs in general, don't want to get into too much of in depth or too difficult. It's not too difficult, so if you want to just kind of mosey on about it and just enjoy the story and the FMVs cutscenes, then you'll definitely enjoy it. It's good, definitely worth checking out.
Well, that sounds like something to put on top of the queue.
Yeah, and it is available for Mac, so you're good on that end.
Oh, very, very good, because I'm kind of limited on this side of the bench with the Mac sometimes, but good to hear that it's available.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think that's about it. I mean, we got I did mention before. There's The Walking Dead, and then the Wolf Among Us latest episode.
Yes.
I can't believe that they're almost ending here. We got like one episode left for both of these.
Yeah,
these two games.
I just want to do a quick view of Watch Dogs.
Sure.
I haven't really gotten into too much of it, but let me just give you my brief impressions on it. It's it's a slightly better than average open world game. It's not that very interesting of a story because it's not very compelling. The characters are sort of broadly drawn. I like the city. I like the city a lot. I think it's got a lot of life to it. I feel like it's definitely got its own personality. I like a lot of the hacking stuff, although sometimes feels just a little bit too simplified for the sake of the game. I really like the fact that you only have one button for melee, just to kind of simplify things up.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the physics are a little bit weird because it tries to pass itself off as this photorealistic type of game, and the physics do not behave like that. Like, you'll run into people, and like in Grand Theft Auto 4, if you run into someone, they'll like fly back, or they'll drop their cell phone or something. And this one, it's just like they have this kind of canned animation of them stumbling backwards. Story not that interesting. Protagonist isn't that interesting. I can't remember. Aiden, I think his name was, and that's just me struggling to remember.
Yeah.
It's it's competently done. I like that there's cover mechanics and shooting mechanics, which are well done. And for some reason, a slow-mo mechanic, I don't know kind of where that came up from, but the slow-mo stuff is like, okay, this is nice, especially when I'm surrounded by a lot of enemies. I do love the slowly taking over the city because you got to hack cell towers to boost your signal and to get more side quests. There are just an embarrassing amount of side quests to do, where you'll be doing like video game mini games, or you'll be breaking into gang hideouts, or you'll be in chases, or this, that, or the other thing, and upgrades. I just it's just that we have such a high standard. Like, one of the things that kind of broke me was that there's such a we have Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto 5, Saints Row 4, and like all these huge open world games, and it's like LA Noire, where the character that you have doesn't break continuity of who he presents himself, or who he or she presents himself as in the game, as opposed to the cutscenes. And you have Aiden being like, "Oh, I'm a staunch Dark Knight protector of Chicago," and then he's like running over citizens, and he doesn't make any mention of this. And you can kill citizens, where you could like injure them or kill them, and he'll just be kind of as nonchalant as he would if he was just being the best driver in the world. And that's kind of game breaking for me, because the narrative and character stuff are at odds with each other sometimes. Because like my character, I like to think that my character is really disconnected from the world, and like he's just doing whatever he wants. Like, okay, if citizens get harmed, I will try to save them, but if they get in the way, then whatever. And it just this we've had such great open world games that little things like this kind of take it away. Yeah. So it's so far it's a solidly made game, but nothing incredibly special. So 4 out of 5.
It's tough, man, especially games like that, where if you're gonna go ahead and play as a character who's not, keen on not harming the innocent or fighting for the innocents, it's hard to really create a game that kind of wraps that mentality around this character, especially with open world games, because sometimes it may be to the fault of the game, or just you're not so great, or maybe not well designed driving mechanics that you can just run over people. You either have to implement something that may not be the greatest thing, but if you're gonna be doing an open world game where you accidentally run over somebody, and that just causes you to fail the mission, you kill somebody, that's just gonna be annoying.
I killed a civilian 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
not even joking.
It's hard to do that. You can either go that route or do the LA Noire route, where you'll be kind of penalized on like your final score, which really doesn't matter. But when you run over somebody, they just kind of go around the car. Like, they don't even get. There's really no canned animation of them getting hit by the car. They just either get pushed out of the way, pretty much. It's hard to really go either route here without breaking some form of realm of. I'm trying to figure out the word here. Like,
10 o'clock, you killed 27 of the innocent people around that crime scene.
It's tough.
You did such a good job. So come on back next time.
It's tough, which tough, because it leads me to believe that like the next Batman game is probably gonna not have any. They're gonna make up some excuse for people not being there, so you don't actually run over somebody.
Oh yeah,
with that tumbler.
He's like, "Where's the Joker?" It's like, that's my grandma, sir. She knows where he is.
But speaking of which, look forward to that game. But
Arkham Knight, yeah,
ain't coming out this year. Damn it! But
that might. I don't know. I still might wait until Halo 5 to actually invest. But Arkham Knight looks pretty damn awesome. I'm looking forward to this is going to be the last game that Rocksteady does when the Arkham universe, much to the sadness, I think, of WB Studios and everybody, who's riding off this. But looking forward to what happens. I really hope they don't bring back the Joker. It's just, he's so overplayed. And how can I miss you if you never leave, sort of thing, where it's, they usually get such very, like, the whole reemergence in Origins was just, that was too much.
Yeah, I really hope that they stick with their guns on what they did in Arkham City and just kind of put on your writing skills into a different villain. I think that's just really the way to go. You just can't rely on that same character. I mean, he's a great villain, but you just gotta go with somebody else. You just can't have him for like three games in a row already.
That's I think the problem with DC right now and Batman, because of the Joker behind it. It's like, ooh, I'm the mastermind. It's like, listen, nobody the rogues gallery that Batman has. Nobody likes to focus on them because they're all going to be overshadowed by the Joker. It's just, you gotta. It's like, listen, you don't need to retire the number forever, but just like for a couple of games.
Yeah, just sit out on the bench and then let somebody else run the show a little bit. I mean, there's
Rodriguez has had his day in the sun. Let's get someone else. Like, let's get the new trainee out of here. Come on, the rookie.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks like they're maybe going that route. Hopefully, they're introducing their own. Rocksteady is introducing their own character they've created for the game, the Arkham Knight, and it looks like Scarecrow may have a bigger role in this than in the past games. Which is good. I mean, I like to see more elements of Scarecrow and some of his fear toxins, and maybe be used in a more creative way.
Scarecrow is one of the best parts of Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's a mixed bag. I know people like Arkham Asylum more than Arkham City in some respects because it's more linear and it doesn't get overboggled with just throwing in all these different villains for the sake of the game and having a lot of content. But yeah, I mean,
it's a tough line to walk.
It's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one, but. Even in the movies as well, DC's really got to get their act together and put out some different movies from the properties that they have. They definitely have a lot of stuff they can put out, but they just always relying on Batman too much, and they're not putting out anything. I mean, Marvel's whooping their ass on the movies.
Yeah, it is just embarrassing how much DC is relying on Batman for a crutch, and it's really sad because even as someone who's just like a casual fan of the DC stuff, whether it be the animated movies or cartoons or comics, what have you, there's obviously a much bigger and more interesting universe that you can get past if you just realize that Bruce Wayne is not the center of everything.
Well, on the contrary. He is.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what Marvel the 90s and early 2000 was like. If it doesn't have Wolverine or Spider-Man in it, we're not touching it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll see what happens with the Batman Superman movie. I'm not sure about it.
That's a stupid ass title. I'm sorry. I'm not going to just say titles don't matter in the end. Like, titles are whatever, like the smallest part of the movie. But it's just so stupid. No one honestly sat down and thought like, no. This is something I can say with a straight face. It's Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, There and Back Again, A Hobbit's Tale. It's just it boggles my mind.
No, not the greatest. It's one of those things where it definitely falls under that title, especially where you want to go ahead and see that movie in the theaters. You just feel you feel dumb for saying it when you're getting tickets for it. It's like, can you get that Batman movie tickets, please? And I just don't want to say the whole title.
I promise you, the only reason they've said Dawn of Justice is because it's supposed to be a Justice League prequel.
It pretty much is, man.
This just really this pushes my buttons because at first they were saying this thing was going to be a Man of Steel sequel, and then it's going to be a Superman Batman adventure, and now it's a Justice League prequel, and I have a feeling that WBDC has no idea what to do with this thing. He's like, we really want that Avengers money, but we don't have the patience to wait to actually build it up.
Yeah, that's probably going to be either its downfall or maybe a success, but
yeah.
The costume looks badass, so that's a positive thing I can say. I like it a lot.
looks very Frank Miller-ish, and kind of crossed with kind of the Arkham games where it's got that realistic. It looks weighty. It looks like it's got some history and some battle scars behind it, but it's also exaggerated. It's that very strange cross that worked really, really well for like the first couple of Arkham games, where it's like, okay, this is obviously kind of the spandex and strange swimsuit trunks on the outside thing that they were trying to go for, but it's also kind of armored, so it balances out. Anyway, looking forward. I really hope it. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, being a good film, but I don't know. There's a lot of things about this production that make me worried.
I may be crazy, but am I the only one who maybe wants to see a resurgence of it? Maybe a more fun time with Batman in the '60s. Maybe bring back Adam West to do maybe Dark Knight Returns in a comedic way.
He must be brooding every second. If he's not just the Crow without the makeup, then that's not the new Batman. He can't have fun. Not ever. If you think he smiled, he didn't. That's just a ruse.
God damn. But
so looking forward to the Arkham Knight game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward.
And that's also the unfortunate downside, just because Batman's kind of known for being the dark, brooding, gothic character. So unless he's dark, brooding, and gothic every single moment he's Batman, if he's not dark and brooding, then he's not Batman. And I just find that silly, and that's kind of ridiculous. Like, come on, even Wolverine has his moments of levity. So
yeah, it is what it is. It's definitely also the product of the times. Like definitely when that came out back in the day, that they had that very very cheesy, campy Batman, and just like over time, it's usually just that cycle. Depending on the time, they'll have right now. They're just gonna have it be broody Dark Knight, which is awesome. I mean, I think that definitely the best story told for Batman is the Dark Knight Returns, which I absolutely enjoy. That story is really good. Definitely the animated movie they did for that was fantastic as well. You basically just saw that.
I have not seen the animated.
It's good. It definitely worth checking out. I mean, it's Peter Weller is older Batman, so I mean, you can't get it any better than that.
Love Peter Weller. The only one that might be a better voiced Batman for old Batman is Michael Ironside.
My God.
I think they actually did that for an episode of Batman the Animated Series where they had, like, I think it was the episode where like three kids are telling three different interpretations of Batman,
Holy
and
shit.
One of them is Batman Returns, and they actually get Michael Ironside to voice Batman.
What? I don't remember this. I remember seeing that movie.
I hope I'm right. I could be completely wrong.
Well, maybe that's just the fan of us of Sam Fisher just wanting him to be Batman.
They're so grizzled.
My God.
It's like him, like Michael Ironside, Peter Weller, Clint Eastwood, Hugh Jackman, Timothy Olyphant. They're all like merging into this like nexus of grizzled old white men.
God.
It's like the video game protagonists all over again.
That's
speaking
really
of,
good.
we have we can talk about the newest episode of The Walking Dead and The Wolf Among Us.
Oh man, it's a lot to discuss without getting into it. But yeah, what the hell? What did you want to talk about first? There's Walking Dead.
I would like to end on The Wolf Among Us. So let's talk about The Walking Dead first.
Okay, Walking Dead. I'm trying to recall here, but
The Walking Wolf Amongst the Dead.
Walking Wolf. Well, I'm trying to recall where it last left off and where it began last episode.
It began when they all arrived at the
they arrived at
the S-Mart.
Yes, they arrived at the kind of
we meet Ash.
I guess Walking Dead TV show equivalent of some kind of safe haven there, but this kind of at this very very big mall. Last episode before that, you had that confrontation at the end where Craver, was that his name? I'm trying to remember. My goodness.
Kevin, I think. I don't know. It's like the really big asshole who was just like, yeah, we're taking you guys back to our group because obviously that's a good waste of time. And now you're at the camp and Clementine's with everybody reunited. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't been playing it yet, but whatever. I assume you tuned out if you haven't played it yet. But
What the hell?
Clementine's reunited with Kenny, who turned out to be alive, and he's got a new love interest in there, and you get to meet a new cavalcade of interesting faces.
Yes, definitely. There's that, and had that confrontation at the very end of the episode before, where that guy shows up, played by Michael Madsen, and plays fantastically though.
Oh yes.
Then they had to kind of shoot out. Somebody I believe gets killed, and
yes.
Kenny relinquishes his weapon, and who else? Somebody else got away.
Carver. His name's Carver.
Was it Carver? Yes, his name is Carver.
The asshole of the other group.
And then one of their other members got away. Trying to remember his name, but we begin episode 4 at the grocery mart.
Yeah, it's some sort of grocery store / Home Depot / everything that they essentially need to survive, and the group is deciding between whether or not to remain here as prisoners or to leave as soon as possible. Is it safe to leave as soon as possible, or do they need to formulate some kind of strategy? And then they also think about Luke, who's just this guy who kind of pops in and out of the group, and nobody knows what's up with him. There's obviously something going on.
Yeah.
And you meet new characters in there in your group, who are friendly to your group as well as on the other side. They got a new one for Bonnie, and who's this kind of sympathetic character who, depending on what you did last time, she could be friendly to you, she could be not, and it's this very interesting. It's Walking Dead for the video game, where it's just this very interesting weaving tale of personal choices for moments that may or may not come to pass as absolutely meaningless or meaningful, depending on what's going on. I gotta say, I just really started despising Sarah. Just because, listen, I understand that she's a scared, more scared kid. Like, she's this season's version of Ben.
And people thought Duck was bad. I had no problem with Duck. Duck was the man, the kid.
Are you kidding me? I thought Duck was awesome.
Yes.
He's enthusiastic. He's energetic. Like, that's something that everyone else here could need. I know it's a zombie apocalypse, but come on, you get to fulfill your fantasies of just committing crazy amounts of violence against people who you normally wouldn't. And but this time around, she's not only a stick in the mud. She is a cinder block surrounded by concrete in a large underground slab. That's how far in the ground she is in terms of being, fun. And this time around, she's just, I can understand that her father has sheltered her so much that it's almost detrimental. But there comes a point where you're just like, listen, there's just like simple things a 6-year-old could do that she refuses to do because she's scared of not having the confidence stuff. Like, listen, it's pruning a plant. You don't exactly need to, research at MIT for this.
Yeah, definitely. There's a whole lot of moments in that episode where I just she's not my favorite character on there, but a lot of her insecurities and just fearful and kind of lack of knowledge at the state of what's going on right now. It's it definitely is consistent with her character, but it just it just really got in the way of some things. And definitely, I mean, it makes sense, like a lot of what happens and what she does, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. She's definitely been coddled too much, and she's gotta grow up pretty much, like Clementine has. But who knows if we'll reach that pivotal moment in the next episode. But basically, I mean, there's definitely a lot that went down in this one. I'm trying to recall. I can't believe I can't remember. I can remember snippets, but I'm just trying to form a sentence here in order to pretty much lay out what happened. A lot happened in that episode, but there's
a comic book store. There's walkie-talkies. There's
we had that one guy haggle us that whole episode that was just a douche.
Oh my!
Yeah, I can't wait till that very end part where one of the other new characters we meet that was at that camp shot him in the nuts. That was fantastic.
It's like, yeah, like obviously this guy was just created just to off him off, like get him dead in just one episode.
Yeah,
and
they got me.
Yeah, just that it is, quite an interesting ordeal for all these people. Just for me, like I can't remember what was the belligerent, angry father's name in the first season of The Walking Dead, who was just like, "Oh, you're a stupid son of a bitch."
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his name, but yeah, he's definitely was there as to entice us and in order to obviously hate him.
Yeah, and the thing is that for him and Ben, like two characters who I thought I would like nothing of, they managed to turn that around and make them like actually come from their perspective. Like Ben, like you think he's just an outright coward, but you begin to actually understand, more about his personality and philosophy and just what he's kind of had to suffer through. And maybe it will be the same for Sarah, but they haven't even gotten close to it. It's been 3 episodes where it's like, okay, she's just very sheltered, she's very naive. What else? Because that's just not making that ain't kosher, man.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see what happens in the next one, but yeah, pretty much it's pretty much them arriving at that area where there's a lot of different members that we've seen from some of the DLC for that game. Well, especially Bonnie. I think that's the only one. The other guy that looks like Carlisle from Spill. You saw him for a little bit.
And they actually had they actually had some characters from 400 Days, which I thought was pretty interesting in terms of kind of getting everybody together, and just this big interconnected sort of way of like these huge narratives, and I like that how it kind of branches back in, and they didn't forget about those characters, and for this episode, it actually brought up a very interesting idea for me. It's that should these Telltale point-and-click adventure games, or just point-and-click adventure games of any kind, should they be held to a gameplay standard and not a writing standard? Because, if you played the first episode of The Walking Dead, you've essentially played what this game has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not disparaging, it's not where it's focused on. It's not supposed to be, okay, like this is the most immersive gameplay ever. It's like, okay, I'm just doing these things to make choices and to have dialogue options and have characters think of me in a certain way, or do certain actions that will have repercussions, and not really just the most engaging gameplay.
Well, it's definitely just going with the simple. It's really going for that simple telling a story and just making the gameplay as kind of simple as possible in order to get you to kind of the advancing major plot points and just to the conclusion. It's definitely why people enjoy it the most. Not really looking to get into a very gamey game that makes any sense. They're really just kind of there to be immersed and pretty much experience this story. There's definitely room for maybe more game type elements to it that could definitely make it that much more enjoyable and more satisfying. Definitely with the quality of writing there's definitely something that if they were to make another game, maybe kind of branch out a little bit and maybe make something a bit more less point and click and maybe more of a kind of a in-depth game than what they're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, who knows? Like, they have the Game of Thrones license, and I would be very, very interested to see where they go with that one.
Yeah, just taking a look at a little bit of some of the synopsis here for this last episode, just to recall. But basically, they decide to go ahead and escape the where they're at right now, and you go into kind of this fetch quest as Clementine's always getting into that because of her stature. She's able to get into certain crevices that other people can't. So she's kind of.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I just like the fact where it's always like we have something very, very important to do. I know. Let's send the small child to do it.
Exactly. So so we go on a few fetch quests to get mainly the walkie-talkie so they can communicate with each other and coordinate this escape. One thing leads to another. Was a Craven finds out that they've taken some of the walkie-talkies and Kenny gets the crap beat out of him in this one.
Oh my God! Yeah, he gets. Like, I don't know if it's close to Oberyn level of just beating the crap out of in this game, but it's close. Where it is just, you kind of hope that he's dead, so he just doesn't have to be suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And it is one of those things. I do like the fact that they do always have fully fleshed characters. And you don't know if they're going to be joining your group, if they're going to be killed in one episode, if they're going to stay with you the entire time. And that's where the fascination comes from, especially with the zombie game, where it's like, okay, who's going to die? Is someone going to die depending on who I side with? And, those sort of things. Very, very interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it has any effect on how you interact with Bonnie, but after that whole ordeal, Carver goes and tells her to watch the group, and they won't be getting anything to eat, and Bonnie tells Carlos to patch up Kenny as good as he can. I mean, he just he almost got beaten to a pulp there, and they were going to go ahead and go off to escape that same night, and. They also had this other moment here, which is really got to me as well. What were they going to do with this? But choosing whether or not to leave with or without Kenny, because he was such in bad shape. Deciding what you did, I decided to take him with us, and miraculously he was able to get on his feet. I think he was missing an eye or broken orbital bone or something like that. We go through that, and also, there's the other guy too who the other guy he got the crappy out of him as well in Craver's office where you find them in order to get you have to go. They were going to go ahead and set off this PA system to get all these different walkers coming to the area, and just kind of as a means of backup so they could just escape and get through all these different zombies. They were very fortified there. They had some guys watching the area and shooting down any of them that they were trying to get past their fences. So you go as Clementine to activate the PA system. He was there. I forgot what was his name.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Trying to see here. Trying to remember his name. Well, he's married to that other chick who's pregnant, and you're trying to. You don't know if it's his kid or Graver's kid. Alvin. Yeah, Alvin.
Alvin. Yep, there he is.
And he shoots. I think he shoots one guy, and then he ends up, I think, getting killed in that aspect.
He does not go out in a blaze of glory. He's he's like, I'm gonna take you all down. Shoots a guy, and I think like the shoulder, and then just gets like completely perforated.
Yeah, he tries to kind of go out in a blaze, but didn't work out too well.
Speaking of Oberyn in Game of Thrones, the ending of this episode made me physically ill.
Oh yeah, that part. The
watch or don't watch moment.
Oh, there was that moment, and then also after that there was that other moment too. But yeah, me being the guy who likes seeing some justice be done to some bad people, he as Clementine being the ultimate badass, I stood there and watched him take it. It was definitely a very gruesome scene.
Oh my God, yeah. There's just no lack of just body horror everywhere. Like, I'm surprised David Cronenberg hasn't directed, an episode of the video game of The Walking Dead.
It was almost as the equivalent, if not maybe more, than like a Paul Verhoeven movie. It was blood everywhere.
You remember that scene where in RoboCop where the guy just walks out all radiated and then just get runs over by a car and he turns into soup?
Yeah,
that's essentially what happens.
That was fantastic. Classic scene. So yeah, we have that moment. They escape, and you get this moment where they finally get one over Graver, and then Kenny, him being pissed off after getting his ass whooped by him, decides to take I believe it was like a pipe or wrench to him and just beat the living bejesus out of him. You could choose to leave, Clementine. You could choose to leave or stay and watch. And then Sarita tried to get you to get out of there, but I said no on that end. And then after that, they go ahead and also and implement the same idea they had the previous season, where they figured out that they can blend in with the zombies if they rub the blood on them. So, and then in old Sarah fashion, she had to go and freak out, and then this one when all hell broke loose.
Fucking Sarah! It also was when Carlos was. Everyone was just walking by, like trying to do the zombie walk from Shaun of the Dead, just and just like get by them, and then and then out of nowhere, one of the zombies just bites Carlos, and then she screams and runs away, and then you have Clementine trying to help her, and then on the very other side you have Kenny's. I can't remember who Kenny's girlfriend is. Sarita, yeah. Where she is suddenly and very, very surprisingly bit by a walker, and so you have to choose either to
slow motion.
Yeah, where you have the Wolf Among Us slow motion scene where he's like, you got to choose like which way you're gonna go, and you can either chop her arm off or chop the zombie head. And I thought, listen, she's already infected, so I gotta stop it at its source, or else she's gonna die.
Yeah, that actually may work. I mean, it did work for.
It didn't work for Lee. That's because he died of blood loss. But
well, it didn't work for Lee, but it took him a while to cut his arm off. I think he spent a good maybe 30 minutes with that cut there before he actually went ahead and cut his whole arm off. But at least with that was a pretty few seconds in between that bit point and getting the arm chopped off. So it may work for her. She may be all right. She may not. I mean, she's not gonna have an arm, or maybe not compete in any arm wrestling contest. But hey, you're not gonna be a zombie.
Hey, I mean, it's better than turning into a zombie.
It worked for Herschel to some extent.
Yeah, it did, and they really didn't. They really wanted to stop paying for the green screen for that leg, so they just gave him a wooden leg, like yar mateys.
He looked badass though, but yeah, I'm sure she'll be all right. I don't know how she'll look at us from then on. I don't know. Maybe she'll get over it. I mean, she may not be too happy about it, but. I mean, either you take the arm or you're gonna take your whole body. So you got to choose between the one.
It just reminds me of the scene of. Did you ever see the 2000 film Evolution?
Yes, I remember it very clearly. To the part where they shoot down. Well, I mean, it's probably unrelated to what you're going to mention, but I remember that. I remember the part where they shoot down. What the hell was it? Was it some type of flying?
It's pterodactyl or something.
Some pterodactyl, and there's then somebody says you want you want to cook this shit up rare or what was it?
You want the light meat or the dark meat?
Dark meat.
You gotta ask.
I don't know why it made me crack up, but yes.
The scene I was laughing at was I was thinking of was it's all a matter of your point of view in terms of what do you want to lose. Like, there's that scene where, like, there was, like, a bug inside of Orlando Jones's body.
Yeah.
And they're like, listen, it's inside your leg. We have to take the leg. It's like, don't take the leg. Don't take the leg. It's like, wait a minute. Take your crutch. Take the leg. Take the leg. Like, it's all a matter of perspective. What you want to lose versus what you don't want to lose.
That movie was something.
Yeah, that was a very strange conglomeration. That was directed by Ivan Reitman. It's I thought it was it was silly, but it was silly fun. I thought it was like a less well executed Ghostbusters.
It had an interesting, diverse cast. We had David Duchovny, we had Sean William Scott, and then
Julianne Moore.
Julianne Moore.
Talk about something like an incredibly strange group of main characters.
Very, very strange group of duos. It reminds me of the movie Mystery Men as well. You know, that whole cast.
Yes.
That movie was awesome.
Do you remember back when we all thought Orlando Jones was just gonna take off and be that incredibly big star, and then that never happened?
To that 7-Up commercial, we thought he was gonna be a big star.
7-Up yours. Because he was in Evolution, he was in Halo 2, and he was also in The Time Machine with Guy Pearce.
Oh shit!
It was this really weird collection of films. He could really break out, and then he never did. And now he's on I can't remember what show he's on, but it's like a procedural medical show, I think.
I'm trying to remember. I think I've seen clips of it, but I just don't recall what the show was.
I remember what it was. I'm looking it up on IMDb, so I do remember what it was.
There you go.
It was Sleepy Hollow.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing clips of that on Fox. Yes.
Yeah, he's Captain Frank Irving. He's pretty damn good in that one. I like him in that one.
Speaking of Fox, 24 man, 24 is back.
I have not seen the new 24.
Yes.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how good is it?
I'm digging it so far. This is just me because I'm a biased 24 fan, except for maybe season 6. I need to watch that again to see whether it was good or not. That was during the time of the writer's strike. That writer's strike definitely had an effect on that season, but it had potential to be good because Peter Weller was in it, I believe.
Ooh.
It might have been Peter Weller. It may have been Peter Weller. No, he was in a different season. It was the guy. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm not gonna remember it, but
refresh my memory. Was
yeah.
Oh wait, was Kumar played by? I'm sorry. Was Cal Penn in? He was in season 6.
He was in 24. I don't remember which season it was. It may have been season 6, but season 6, which it involved
nuclear bomb.
Jack Bauer's dad was in it. He made an appearance. Jack Bauer's dad, and
was he played by the guy who was the doctor in iRobot? The old man?
Exactly. That was the guy. I just don't remember his name.
It's whenever you need an old guy to play the father. Oh, there he is, right there.
Yeah, he was in that. That was the one, and I believe President Palmer's brother was president. He was the president in that season. I just have a very fogged memory on that. I just don't remember that season all that well. But it's one of the ones I've heard from fans saying that it's not the best. James Cromwell, that's the one.
That was the old guy, and the only thing I remember from Cal Penn's performance was he had a gun on somebody. He's like, "It's not Ahmed, it's Ahmed." It's with extra phlegm spitting out. It's okay, who wrote this? Who thought this actually sounded good? I don't know.
Then he went off to actually work in the White House.
What a strange transition. When did what qualities did President Obama see in him and Harold and Kumar go to White Castle that made him think, you know what, we need these guys on our staff?
But no, this season is pretty good. It's pretty much, it's not a return of the show per se. It's being brought back just for this season as a miniseries. So it's gonna be split up into, I believe, maybe only 12 episodes. So it's pretty much just a miniseries they're showing on Fox every week. But I'm really digging it. It's almost like a new day, you would say. I mean, they were going by the. That was his gimmick at the beginning. It's the show takes place in real time, so if you watch all the episodes in one go, you're pretty much watching a whole day go by of him saving the world or the city or something. Nuclear bombs and chemicals.
You do start to have a lot of disbelief because it is 24 hours of these people moving around and walking without sleeping, without eating, without going to the bathroom. It's listen, I know you want to maybe, just break a moment, but just at least have someone go, man, I'm tired. I'm just gonna take this 30-minute cat nap.
They go
and like
they go
have
to the
their like
bathroom.
face sleeping in like the lower right screen.
Yeah, that's always been one of
All
the
like IT guys like asleep.
has always been one of the funny points that as well. But I try not to think about it too much. But I think maybe they just go to the bathroom during commercial breaks or when somebody else is seeing that he's not in. They go to the bathroom during that time. No, this season's good. I'm digging it a lot. Jack Bauer's in England now. He's off doing his thing. He's still marked as a kind of a traitor to the country. How the last season ended. Pretty much, he's out doing his own thing, saving the world in his own Black Ops way, almost going the realm of Sam Fisher and the new Splinter Cell game. Has his own very small private. I think it's just himself and some other guy, but he's saving the world. Every small thing, rescuing cats from trees and things like that. No, it's good. There's some actors in there.
How is Jack Bauer not famous?
I don't know, man.
I'm sorry?
I don't know. I mean, you would think he'd be well known by now, and it definitely he saved the world like 6 or 7 times already. I don't know how he can be marked as a traitor to his country. God damn, it's crazy.
We have like. After killing Osama bin Laden, there were still people who were revealed on SEAL Team 6 like the second after it happened. And like how is like Jack Bauer not like thought of as like I don't know, like the real world Solid Snake at this point in time?
I don't know, man, it's crazy. I'm waiting for an equivalent to Jack Bauer's. I mean his Liquid Snake to his Metal Gear, his Solid Snake.
It's not Naked Snake unless he repeats every single line twice. Metal Gear. It can't be.
This season's pretty good. I think we're about three or 4 episodes in, but I'm digging a lot. There's he's in London. He's got to throw off another attack by there's some recurring cast members from the previous seasons. There's the Secretary of Defense, James Heller. He's now the president. We got that, and we also have the girl from Chuck is in that show, Yvonne Strahovski, famously known as Miranda Lawson.
Miranda
Mass
Lawson.
Effect 2. We got that, and we also have as the villain. We also have Catelyn from Game of Thrones is the villain in this season. So she's so far been fantastic as the villain. So I'm digging what she's doing. The show is it's classic 24. I mean, it's one of those shows where I can understand people may have gotten tired of it because it was still going on for so long. But it's one of those shows that it's been gone for this long. It's just I'm already missed it. So it's glad that it's back just for this season, and hopefully they maybe do another mini series on it. But I'm enjoying it so far. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah, well, I have not been involved in the 24 show since a long time ago. I was hearing rumblings of a movie maybe, and this might jumpstart into a movie, but I am interested to see where it goes, just because I didn't really know how the new miniseries was going to be received, and it sounds like it's a good return to form. So I'll go check it out.
Yeah, hopefully maybe it will spawn a movie. They've been trying to get a movie out there for a while. I think they've gotten to the point where they had a script, but it just never got greenlit. So maybe after this they'll maybe put out a movie. I just don't for a show as good as that I really enjoy. I don't know how I would like to see that be going to a movie. I think it's just better off as an episodic show. It is. I mean, to tell a story as long as that show and as action packed, it's really well digested as an episodic show, really, rather than just cram everything as much as possible and get as much done in the hour and a half of a movie you'll get out of it. But that's just me. I think it's just better off as a show.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, but the thing is, like, if the 24 show is coming to a close, and not like Firefly or Jericho where it goes on to comic book series, well, then it might as well end on a high note and with the best of intentions, and at least wrap up all the storylines, and then just finish it all off nicely. Nice little bow.
Yeah, which fortunately that show did. I mean, it was on the heels of getting canceled. Like after that last season, there was no guarantee of it coming back. So they really did a great job on that last season to wrap things up and end it properly. And then this miniseries that's out right now, it's just mainly as an additional kind of add-on to the show. Really, it's just kind of another adventure in the life of Jack Bauer after those events. It's still in continuity with what happened the last season, but that last season really was the definitive somewhat end. There's still enough stories to tell. Like, it was almost like a game that had a pretty good ending, that there's a lot of stories to tell with additional add-ons. So that's definitely what this miniseries is just more of an add-on to fans of the show, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
I like me some 24 and Kiefer Sutherland yelling "damn it."
There was an interview, I think it was either on Letterman or Leno, where he was just saying like, yeah, we can't really get into too deep of swearing, but I can say with damn whenever I want to. And they've developed drinking games in colleges where the drink whenever I say damn, so I try to, whenever I can, just go damn. Just so that they can develop some liver poisoning.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so good luck with that show. I had fond memories, and it was quite entertaining when I watched it.
I absolutely love it. So I take it you've been watching yourself, and you're already caught up to some Game of Thrones as well. You're already into that Game of Thrones craze.
Yes, I am, and I gotta say that the last episode, I kind of knew it was coming, and really? Not even because I read the books in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Just because I didn't read the books in advance. No, just that everything was way too optimistic. Like, if you know the show, if you know the story beats of the show already, it's like, oh, there's a good bit of optimism before it's completely dashed away. And it was definitely like when Oberyn was giving like, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father and prepare to die. Like, it's less like that is completely off kilter for a Game of Thrones storyline, and especially I was like, it was just. But the big problem I had with I understand that from a story perspective what they did, but the level of violence that they took it to, I was really disturbed with, because it was just so gory, and including the earlier part of the episode where they have that guy who's essentially just stripped of all of his skin, just like half of his torso's on a spike, and it just feels so. I don't want to say false, but just they seem to be hiding another truth of the books, which are very they're explicit in violence, but also in sexual nature, and they're not going with that.
Yeah,
where it's just sex is only like they either just start or they have like conveniently placed items, and it just like, listen, if you're gonna really pretend to go whole hog with the story, you need to go all the way. You can't just do it for violence, or else it's a disservice to the book. And I gotta understand some things about what they changed. Like in the book, Tyrion gets spoiler alert, Tyrion gets his nose cut off, and it just gets a replacement sort of little nodule, so that it looks like a regular nose. But in the TV show he doesn't, but that's only because it would limit the acting range of Peter Dinklage. And I'm fine with that change. But having something like this and just showing that gore up close, just almost. And the thing is, it's also just so ridiculous, because there was spoiler alert again. If you, I don't know why the fuck you're listening to this program if we're talking about whatever. And so you have Oberyn's head smashed open like a rotten melon, and it looks so ridiculous, because a human being does not have that much strength to do that, and they just did it for the effect, and it was just like, wow, this seems just so disingenuous. And I can understand like them killing Oberyn, completely fine. I understand. Like that is completely within the like. Listen, he's a character who doesn't like rape and like is about honor. Of course, he's going to get killed and violently. But it's just such a weird situation where they revel in this violence and gore and still pull away a lot from the sexual stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you've read the books, they definitely get really explicit in the sexual nature of things, especially even as slight changes, which I don't mind. Like the characters' ages, they're very, very. Some of the characters are very younger, and they in those books than they are in the show.
Daenerys is like 15 when she, when she's wed to Khal Drogo, and he does not care that she's 15.
Oh yeah.
And just like it's stuff like that, and they don't include that in the show because they're afraid of offending people, and then they have just like these ridiculous scenes of gore, which it feels so, I don't know, two-faced.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, but for the most part, I like what they're doing so far with the show. It's definitely the best representation of the book for the most part. There's definitely some small changes, but they're really, now that I'm seeing this season right now, they're really catching up fast to the last book, man. I have not read the last book yet, but I know that they've said that the creators, I believe, talked to George R.R. Martin, that they told him how the story's going to end. So we don't even know how this show is going to end and how that is going to be any different or correlate to like the books that he hasn't even put out yet. That's what I'm curious on. It's getting close to that end, and I don't know how they're going to end that show because they're getting so quick to that last book. And there's some stuff this season that are in that last book that they really skimmed over really quick.
The what was it? The White Riders.
There was them, and then there was also some stuff with Theon as well. Like there's stuff with his character progression that I had no idea on because I haven't gotten that far into that last book. I've only read like a few chapters of Dance with Dragons, and there's definitely mention of him and where he's at right now. It's just he's been completely broken down as a man and just like nothing more than a puppet right now. Which makes you feel bad for him. At first you were like, hell yeah, he's getting his ass served some of that justice, and after that you're just like, god damn, I feel bad for him.
Ramsay, that son of a bitch.
That Ramsay's a sick son of a bitch.
It's like, listen, like whatever. Okay, Theon is no saint, but at least he does not hunt, girls crying through the forest for fun. That is just sick and wrong.
That's the next level.
I'm still waiting for Ned Stark to come back. He somehow miraculously survived the beheading and then just comes back what the hell's been going on?
Come back like Obi-Wan.
Oh man, that would be great.
I don't know if you've seen it yet because I think I texted you this. You gotta see that. You gotta see that video I sent you. David Lynch directing a trailer that someone made. David Lynch doing Return of the Jedi.
Oh my god, I have not seen that one yet. So let me load that up in another tab and I'll watch it after the episode.
Yeah, it's definitely key to what it would be like if David Lynch directed Return of the Jedi. It's a bunch of close-ups and weird noises and people talking backwards. It's definitely it's a fantastic put together trailer there.
Have you seen Mulholland Drive?
Yes, I was actually going to bring up something here with David Lynch. I saw one of his last films he's made, the Inland Empire movie. Is that the last movie he's made? Right, that he budgeted on his own with Laura Dern and Justin Theroux. I can't get into it, man, because I cannot explain to you what the hell happened in that movie. In old David Lynch fashion here, this is the most David Lynchy movie you're ever going to see. So I'm not even going to get into trying to explain what the hell happened or what the hell that movie was about.
Well, but, listen, Twin Peaks was his most straightforward, narrative-based project, and nobody can still adequately explain what the hell that series was.
Yeah, I like Twin Peaks a lot. That's my favorite work of his, and regardless of maybe how that show ended, I can kind of come up with some ideas for it. It's still pretty out there, but it's at least it's comprehensible for the most part. I was one that I never saw the show in its original run because I was pretty young for that show, so I probably couldn't understand it. But watching it recently on DVD a year ago, I really enjoyed that show, and I read stuff on it back in the Wikipedia on what the reception was like that second season. People did not like that second season, really. After they revealed the killer of Laura Palmer, that just people did not like that other season because it's just like there was not much else to go off of, because that was really the main focal point of that show, just finding out who killed her. And then after that, the second season was just really all about character progression of developing these other characters, which I really enjoyed, because there's a lot of great characters on that show that really got a lot their spot in the light there. Like there's all sorts of things going on there, which I enjoyed. And then they added that subplot with Heather Graham showing up as like kind of the love interest for what's his name, Agent Cooper. And then he had that going on, and then some things coming back from his past and involving his wife that got killed by this other guy.
Maybe the devil.
And
it's David Lynch. There's always the maybe the devil option.
Yeah. Regardless of that, I enjoyed that show. Overall, I liked that whole thing. There was that, and then there was the prequel movie, which I liked as well. It was cool. I don't know. Fire Walk with Me. People did not like that either when I was reading the Wikipedia info on it. I thought it was perfectly fine. I think it was one of his best movies. It was good. I was just going into that frame of mind, man. Like how cool would it be if he directed a Batman movie as the Scarecrow as the villain? How awesome would that be? Those
would be
hallucinogen sequences. That would be fantastic.
There needs to be almost a horror element associated director with a Batman movie, because if you really want to get into the dark stuff, you really need to get into like the Arkham comic book series and like get that sort of very exaggerated, very uncomfortable version of the Batman mythos, and like that would be an interesting story.
Yeah. I guess some of the movies have horror. I mean, some of the movies in the show, like Twin Peaks, has horror elements in it, but as like a straight up horror movie, that'd be cool to see from him. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, just a lot of the things of David Lynch's fame, they're horror-esque because a lot of them are unnerving. Like they're not completely like those be like a scene of people enjoying toast, and it will be unnerving.
Yeah.
And you can't put your finger on why. It's not the overt, oh my god, there's a guy with a knife behind the curtain. It's like, no, it's actually just very, very strange, very slow plotting. It doesn't follow a rhyme or reason that we can, easily adjust to. It's something you gotta try and just kind of get into the mindset of, and it's like Lovecraftian horror. As soon as you understand, you go crazy.
Oh yeah. But no, some of his stuff I like a lot. Some of it I don't hate, but it's just it's some of the stuff that he does that he doesn't care. He doesn't make movies for like Hollywood. He just makes movies that he wants to do. Especially Inland Empire was one of them, and Lost Highway, which both of them are the Vegas movies. I can never explain. But he makes movies that he wants to make.
Yeah.
I know we talked about Lost Highway before. That was certainly an experience. I think you could call it watching that movie. I gotta watch that again and see if I can wrap my head around it. But
no, it's a fucking weird film.
I never seen Wild at Heart. I'm curious about that one.
It's David Lynch, so it's either going to be so crazy that it makes no amount of sense, or just like, oh, it works well, except it's really, really crazy. It's really, really still crazy.
Look, it's David Lynch. It's Nicolas Cage. Willem Dafoe's in it, and I heard like a cameo from Crispin Glover in that. I gotta see it.
David Lynch. There will never be another man like him. And then for some reason he decided to be a voice actor on the Cleveland Show. As the bartender. I never will understand that.
Hey, we can't understand his movies. So what makes us think we're gonna understand why he's on the Cleveland show?
I don't know. It's like out of all the shows you could be a part of, like Family Guy or American Dad, you chose the Cleveland show. Whatever.
But you mentioned Mulholland Drive. I really like Mulholland Drive. That's one of my also favorite ones from his. I actually did understand that movie for the most part, especially the end. After you gathered everything, I did understand what the whole point and message they were getting across of it. Surprisingly, I think it was close to accessible as Twin Peaks was. A little bit off kilter, but it's for the most part I got what that movie was about. That Mulholland Drive. That was good. And Naomi Watts there, and we had that very very unexpected, very hot girl on girl action. That was one of the most unexpected scenes I've seen in the movie. I did not see that coming.
That was just, I don't know, that feels like that weird, I don't know what to do with this character, this female character, I know, I'll make her a lesbian scene, where it's like, that's like, it's such, I don't, like, trust me, I don't mind, hot ladies, but it just feels so, weird, where they're like, it's like, oh, there's no indication, but now suddenly I'm a lesbian scene, where it would feel weird for, like, if men did it, just because, like, it wouldn't be like a war movie where it's like, alright boys, we need to go take that hill, give me a kiss for good luck. It's just, I don't know what it is, like, that's just something that, it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't disgust me, it doesn't unnerve me, but just one of those, like, really sort of moments where I don't know what it is.
It was a little bit unexpected, a little bit out of character, but after you watch the whole movie in full, it does make sense, that part. To me it does. But I like that one. I don't know if you've seen it or if you've seen Eraserhead, but that one was a weird one as usual. I think that's the theme with him. So
Elephant Man.
I haven't seen Elephant Man.
I would actually love to see Telltale Games try to make a David Lynch styled story.
Oh my goodness.
Where it's just like, oh, would you like some coffee? Sure. How much do I owe you? Everything. And then he just disappears in a puff of smoke. Like, okay, I probably don't want to go to this restaurant anymore.
We got this. It's David Lynch meets Tommy Wiseau.
The best movie ever. Oh my gosh. Hi, doggy.
Oh, I didn't know it was you, Johnny.
So how's your sex life?
My God.
That movie, oh my God. That was just one of the greatest movies of all time. Of just like watching through it and go, how in the world did this happen? Like, how did people have genuine intentions when making this?
It's like one once in a lifetime thing that can never be replicated. And that's why that YouTube series he had failed, because he just tried too hard to be what that movie was not intended to be. So it was terrible.
Well, of course, it was also on Machinima, so it's not exactly like they green light gold every time they think of something new.
I haven't seen much of Machinimash's feed after that. I just unsubscribed from that because it just they put too much stuff out. It just kind of clutters my subscription feed. So I had to put the kaput to them on that one.
I got so frustrated with Machinima because I subscribed to them in my youthful ignorance, and had and one of they had an episode of Player versus Pain, and for those of you who don't know what it is, good, because don't you ever try to understand what this thing is. It's like a bunch of video game players playing video games while they're violently hurt, like getting wedgies or kicked in the nuts.
The hell?
And I just wrote this scathing comment, where to the point where I read it back and I was like, maybe I was being way too harsh, because these people, they're doing with the best of intentions. Maybe they just thought it was something interesting and entertaining, and I went back to watch it and I said, no, I was too generous. And the actual hostess of the show commented back to
damn.
me saying like, "Oh, like, oh, something that said like you didn't like it. Well, you just might not have been smart enough to get it." And I just tore her a fucking new one.
Oh,
just
goddamn.
Oh my god, it made me sad. It genuinely did. That crap like that was getting greenlit when there were people and talented hosts who were slaving away and with good ideas, and they don't get to see it because they make room for this crap. And I could not be nice about it. I could not just. I'm getting angry just thinking about it. My blood. You know what you guys did? You see this blood pressure. 160 over 180. I don't know what it is, but that's my HP from my Bulbasaur right now. I don't know what it means.
I got my Galaxy S5. I mean, I give it to you to see what your beats per minute is, but it ain't possible.
Anywhom, I apologize for the tangent once again. This has been CH's Corner.
That was good. That was good. I like that a lot. I don't even know what's going on with them these days. I don't even know if they're as popular as they once were anymore. I mean, I think Rooster Teeth still like the most popular right now. Yeah, so I haven't really checked out Rooster Teeth. I should, but I haven't seen much of their stuff to really.
I think Machinima is the college humor of video game videos.
Oof.
Yeah. And I thought like. I just go into college humor, and it's like, this is the same shit every day. They don't try anything new. They try to stay in the really, really safe and offensive line of just really terrible blue-collar jokes, which, they get tedious after a while. Anyway,
yeah, I mean, the only thing I ever liked out of Machinima was there was a YouTuber who did actual like different things with like GTA 4 mods. So what they did was they did a few different videos. I don't know if I sent you that before, but they did like a kind of parody of Heavy Rain with GTA 4 characters. So it was like Nico trying to rescue Roman from like that the mysterious killer over the phone, and he did a bunch of things. And there's one funny part where he just they told him that in order to save his brother he had to cut off his nuts, and then he got to the point where he's like, fuck this, and he just throws the knife and just walks away. All that stuff he's done was hilarious. It's a great videos he makes, but
but all those are from independent guys.
Exactly, that's the problem.
We're just uploading to Machinima.
Yeah, that's how I noticed them. But you get that, and then you also get a very very also independent one that's very not the best stuff. I'm no critic, so they got the very lowest common denominator videos that just get overflooded in the feeds. That's why I don't subscribe for them. I actually initially just subscribed to them just for the trailers, actually, just game trailers. But you can get that anywhere else. So,
pretty much.
That's my story.
Is it just like, whoa, top 5 bodacious kills in Call of Duty Ghost?
Terrible. But hey, they get views. So who am I to say?
Yeah. Who are you to have sane and rational thoughts?
But
how dare you?
Actually, we almost forgot that thing. We were going to talk about last episode of Wolf Among Us, episode 4. I actually did a. If you guys are curious, I did a stream of that. I actually streamed the game, first playthrough of that episode. I'm hearing mixed things on it, but I like the episode for what it was. Not the greatest one. I actually like episode 3. I think the most. Episode 3 was pretty solid.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the biggest complaint I heard from this game was something I kind of agree. Where it was short. Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah.
It's the first 3 are good lengths, and it's just as well written as the other 3, but this one definitely feels like the final bit of connecting tissue to the last episode.
That's how I felt. Yeah.
And they're just trying to figure out some things to throw in there before the big wrap up, and involving Tiny Tim and the Crooked Man. I can't remember who, like the Jersey Devil. I love the design of the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, he was the best design character, they Telltale has done. I think they really put a lot of work into that one. With that transformation, it was really well done. That the design of the character and the fight scene was good. But definitely this one was fine. It wasn't terrible. It was mainly there for. I thought it's just mainly, like you mentioned, just a connecting tissue, just to transition you to that last episode. They're really gonna save all the good stuff, hopefully, for that last episode. But it was just mainly there to, transition you to that last episode, which ended on that cliffhanger there. It just tore me to shreds. That cliffhanger is like, God damn it. Yes, that one was that was a part of it. I mean, there's just a very few minuscule things that was there that just mainly transitioned to that next episode. There was some decent things. I didn't like that part at the butcher shop. I thought they spent too much time there.
Yeah,
it wasn't the best.
Unless Johan actually has a part to play later, it seems like they spent a lot of time just kind of setting up things we might have kind of already guessed.
Yeah.
And with a character that we, to be honest, we just don't care about. Like, we want to find out more about Bluebeard or Snow White, or just. I would even have taken Crane again over Johan. He just wasn't that very interesting of a character.
No, not really. I wanna know more about Bloody Mary and
Bloody Mary,
Crooked Man. Bloody Mary is the most interesting out of the bunch there, as that poses a real threat to Big B.
I just love the fact that they have the omnipotent mirror on the wall. They could like spy on anyone, and Mary's just like, oh, I know you guys are looking at me because the mirrors are my damn ride. So just piss off.
Yeah, that was a good scene when they put together that mirror. We got to also find out a little bit more. I wish there was a bit more development with Beauty and the Beast. There were some interesting aspects there. I definitely get where they're coming from, but it's hard for me to feel sorry for them because they're so materialistic. So that's how they ended up getting in the place to rent in the first place. They're just borrowing money.
Like, this is such a nice place. You guys are struggling so much for this, and yet you act like it's the end of the world if you can't get all the money that you want just to maintain this place. When I'm living in a not even one bedroom, like one kitchen and one bathroom / living room / bedroom area. Like, okay, you get no sympathy from me.
Yeah, definitely hard to feel sorry for them. But actually, this is actually one of the aspects I actually like about this whole series in general, just how they incorporate some of the character traits of each fairy tale character and how they adapt and how they interact with the real world. That was definitely a perfect example. Beauty and the Beast are living very, very nicely, but they're also in high depth here. We're just living beyond their means. It definitely is consistent with how they have lived before, and it's very well. It was very well done. But like we mentioned, it's hard to feel sorry for them. The minute I stepped in that door, it's like, God damn, you guys are fighting over if Beauty should stop working, and then Beast is doing some work on the side here that's kind of shady. But you guys seem to be living all right, but you guys are also
like, damn, but this is better than 99% of the world lives in.
I know, man. I mean, all they need is just the talking cups. That's all they're missing. That's why they're so depressed right now. They couldn't afford
See
them.
Our guest room. See our guest room.
We got that. Like I mentioned, there's not too much happened here, but there's some interesting moments. I mean, that one there.
And then on the flip side is that we get so much of Johan, and then we get none of the Jersey Devil, who I thought was a very interesting character in the fact that he's so standoffish that like he's just begging for a fight.
Yeah.
And like even when he's losing, he's like, screw you, I still win.
Exactly.
Yes, but I still like it. Still excellent writing. The interaction between characters are great. I just don't think it's as strong as the previous three. I thought episode 3 was probably still the strongest out of all of them, and I'm real looking forward to where episode 5 goes at.
Definitely. How did you feel about the one scene where they try to make you almost make a choice here, but not depending on how you went about it, not really indefinite yet. It's still out in the ballpark there. But the scene where Snow White talks about maintaining order and just kind of going by the book here, and then they talk about I forgot his name, but the pig who's
Colin.
Colin. Having him go to, was it Fairy Town, Fable Town somewhere?
The farm
where there's they all live, all the different fairy tale creatures that can't afford charms are forced to live. There's almost like a prison, I guess, that they mentioned there. Very insulated from the outside world.
I tried to be kind of amicable as much as possible and just say, like, hey, let's calm down, it's all right, like, listen, we don't need to make this conversation now, just because I'm thinking, hey, you know what, there's still this kind of killer thing on the loose. I will deal with this shit after I got this solved, all right? Like, everyone else can just, sit down until we actually deal with the big problem on our hands. And outside of that, I think, and then when, Colin was like, hey, are you thinking about sending me to the farm? I was just quiet, just because I was thinking, dude, I appreciate you backing me up against, Snow, and she was kind of pushing for more control, but honestly, you guys need to leave me alone. I just put my arm back in it, suck it. Oh. So, like, give me some booze, give me a good night's sleep, and then come talk to me.
Yeah, that one was a tough to watch scene as well. Putting his arm back into place, that was rough.
Yeah, I thought, like, Wolf Among Us. That means that there's not going to be a lot of gore in this one in comparison to The Walking Dead. I wonder how they're going to do that. Like, no, it's just as much, if not more, because they do something like, ugh. Oh man, just resetting that arm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still undecided on Colin, but I've mainly been playing Bigby as just a guy who's just trying to move forward from his past and not be the typical big bad wolf that people make him out to be. Just trying to make a change for him, so I'm just trying to go that route here. I haven't decided on him yet, but I mean, after all, he's a pig. I mean, how are you supposed to do anything? He's just a pig, talking pig.
It's like, listen. You don't have enough money for a glamour, so it's just simple. You have to go back.
So there's that, and then also that the scene later on with the toad. He's asking, he's begging for money. I actually had I think I had money from the last episode. I think I might have pickpocketed it for somebody, and then I had more money on this episode because you ended up getting money. I thought I was going to end up giving it to him, but I just agreed that I'll hook him up for a charm because I like the son a lot. But I didn't give him any money. I thought I was going to give him some money, but because I had it in my inventory, but I never used it, so that's why I had nabbed it in the first place. So it never was used. I still have cash on me.
I actually questionably took some money in this episode, and then I used it to pay off Toad. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, listen, your ass better get a glamour, or I'm just gonna make sure that I eat some frog legs tonight. And just, it's one of those things where I feel like it's going to come back in some form or way, just because, like, Toad's been playing too much of a big character to not be in the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, that's...
sorry?
No, I was just gonna say that really is it. I mean, there's definitely some other stuff in there, but it's not. I mean, not too much, not too big story elements happen. I mean, there's just mainly a few things here and there to develop what's maybe gonna happen and what we're gonna be expecting on the next episode. But yeah, just not too much that big, not too big things happen, but just mainly a few trinkets on what to expect and just a few
setting up
character developments. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just set up.
It's
just fine, which is fine, but yeah, hopefully it just all pays off in the last episode. I hope it doesn't disappoint.
I think, and you know what? For me, it's hard for me to get excited about The Walking Dead season 2 as much because I kind of know what the beat and the story rhythm is for the first season of The Walking Dead, and that one was just, it was so surprising and shocking, and once you've kind of have your mind encompass kind of what that story is, it's hard to surprise for a second round of just like the zombie apocalypse and how people can survive, because you've already been kind of pushed to the brink with that. And then with The Wolf Among Us, having the mystery kind of crime genre, you can be set up and surprised in a lot more ways than just one. And I feel like for The Walking Dead, they're never going to find have a place to lay low forever, or they're never going to explain the zombie apocalypse, because that's not what Robert Kirkman said he's ever going to do. So, or the TV show for that matter. So they're just going to kind of continue on and move to a new place, or stay or get up with another group, whatever. But with the Wolf Among Us, it feels like they have a purpose, a point, exploring the themes, but also realizing it's a mystery story and eventually going to go to a certain point.
Right. Definitely. But yeah, that's been episode 4. I think I give it pretty much an average rating on it. It's not bad, yeah. But it's not something you're gonna be remembering from years to come. But it's definitely there just to advance the story and just gonna transition you very, very well into that next episode. So yeah, that's episode 4 of Wolf Among Us. I'm really curious to see how Telltale is going to tackle the Game of Thrones game when that comes out, especially how we were talking earlier about the violence in that show, and how it is pretty faithful in terms of the violence, but I'm curious to see how they're going to handle the sexual aspects of the game. Comparison to that
half
show.
Of it is also sex, because like a lot of it's being used for politics as well.
Exactly. So I mean, without it being there in some shape or form, it's gonna do the books and show a bit of a disservice here. Maybe the books, because it's very, very graphic in terms of its sexual scenes, and definitely there for a reason, not just there for titillating value. It's just there to really as a use to get ahead, and definitely the politics are definitely involved in that show for that.
With the book, everything is visceral in the book, where it's just like the violence, the language, the sex, like everything is used kind of to its nth degree, and just used for a effect, but also for effect. Where it's very, very, a lot of times it's uncomfortable for the audience to be that close, and it's done for a reason, and you kind of have to go with every single aspect in some equal respects, or it's not going to be true to the books. And the thing that I love about The Walking Dead, Telltale's version of The Walking Dead, is it's this great middle ground between, I think it's the strongest version of the entire story and the entire Walking Dead franchise, because you have the lighthearted moments of actual character dynamics, and a lot better writing than in the show. And then I also think it is a lot better writing in the comic books, because the comic books, they just sink into this nihilistic soup of just destruction and hopelessness that I don't think Robert Kirkman could ever get the tailspin out of. And so I just feel like The Walking Dead is this perfect amalgamation of both the not the faults, but the great aspects of the franchise without much of the weaknesses. And I hope that's kind of the way with the Game of Thrones, where some of the pacing stuff is a little off in the books, but I feel like maybe they can improve on that in the games. And I do wonder what type of story this is. Is it going to be a side story? Is it going to be prequel? Is it going to be main story and set in an alternate universe? Because maybe that's going to be the way that Game of Thrones goes.
That's what I'm curious on as well. I mean, they could go any direction. what I would be interested in primarily seeing is probably just maybe a new character introduced, and maybe just a character that's doing his own thing on his own. Maybe that takes place during maybe the books / show. They could go that route. I mean, they did it with that other Game of Thrones game that was average in terms of gameplay, but the story was actually pretty damn well put together and faithful to the books and show at the same time. So you follow two characters that you play in two different different levels, and there's actually just mention of different characters from the show and kind of where the thing's at right now. So you never really stumble upon a whole lot of characters from the show, but other than maybe a less than a handful, but they do take place during that timeline during, I believe, the first season. So, but it's never the focal point of that game. It's not about what's going on in the actual main story. It's about these two different characters and how they correlate and how things with them end up playing out near the end. So I liked it for that aspect. I hope that they do that to some effect in the Telltale Games version. I'm just curious to see how they'll do it for the most part. But I
got a lot of faith that it's going to be well written.
Oh yeah.
And and I think there's kind of this, just something I've also noticed of the writing, where a lot of times it'll go to the writing of what characters are talking about will go very, very dark very quickly. And I kind of hope there's a little bit of balance between that. Like they did with The Walking Dead.
Most def, man. Yeah, I think that's about. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not sure what else you wanted to get into there. I know we both saw the new X-Men movie, which was goddamn, that was fantastic. I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I'm not really been a huge X-Men fan in terms of the movies, but this one really blew me away. I was so into it from beginning to end. I just didn't even notice how long the movie was. It just went by so fast for me. That's how much I was into it. So yeah, what did you think about it?
I thought it was absolutely excellent. I think it's probably the strongest X-Men movie to date. I think it's a great time-traveling movie. I love the character interactions. I love the fact that Wolverine is not the main character this time around. He's just the messenger. He's essentially the errand boy. And I was counting the number of scenes he was actually doing things important to the story, and it's relatively few. He's not doing even at the end where you think he's got the big final showdown, and it's nope, you're gone. And and just the fact that the interaction between Charles, Eric, and Mystique, who are the big three in terms of kind of the storyline. I love the fact that Eric is just Magneto, is just completely. He's 100% mutant kind. There's no evolvement in terms of his character arc in terms of that. He just sees mutant kind like number one. Don't ever get in the way. But he changes on how he sees it, including on a personal level. And I like that. And then Charles being the emotionally distraught character, whereas Eric was kind of that filled that role in First Class, and Mystique as well. But it's just Charles, because we see Charles Xavier completely beat, just totally ramshackled. The mansion's in complete disarray. The students and the teachers have been drafted into the Vietnam War, and he's just completely just beside himself with melancholy. And it's great because we've never seen that interpretation of Charles Xavier before. It's wow, this is very interesting. And now he's getting a vision from the future that literally says, hey, humanity is eventually going to kill us. So what does that say about your philosophy that if we play nice, we're eventually going to, all live in a good world? And, Mystique, who's just listen, I'm looking out for mutant kind, and this guy's, I don't care what ramifications it has. That's everyone else's problem. I'm going to, do what I can for my species. And just this fascinating character dynamic between the three. What did you think? I'm sorry for talking so much.
No, that's not a problem, man. No, I liked it a lot. I mean, I liked the definitely the different character interactions and how these characters that we know from the past movies, like Xavier and Magneto, how they were like back in the day. I haven't yet to see First Class. I definitely will, but I have not seen First Class. So there's definitely some.
You gotta see First Class.
I know. There was definitely some things in there that I didn't quite catch, but they did a good enough job to explain. And I mean, just by the performances and dialogue between each other, you got an idea what these who these characters were and what their relationships stand. At that time. I liked. I did not. I mean, it's definitely probably one of the best probably time traveling movies out there. I'm sure there'll be trolls out there who are gonna dissect this movie and say there was flaws and inconsistent plot holes in there. But from what I saw, I did not see neither of that. I mean, I know that we had some time travel movies like Back to the Future that had its fair share of plot holes, but this one did a solid job at wrapping everything up, and I'm curious to see how they'll move forward once the thing happens at the very end. I'm curious to see how they incorporate past characters into the future films, if they will. I'm just curious how everything pans out there.
I gotta say, for the trolls out there, I wrote about time traveling in my senior thesis when majoring in film, and I gotta tell you, it is a load of bunko in terms of just adhering to logic and scientific reasoning. It's very strange rules that time traveling applies to, and they pretty much do this one by the book in terms of audience-friendly time travel. And I gotta say, it is just they just did a stellar job. There's just some weird critics out there. There's one particular critic. I'm not going to name him specifically because I don't want to start anything, but he essentially was saying oh, I didn't like this movie because they didn't explain this, and this, and there's some plot inconsistencies. It's dude, listen, this movies like that, the X-Men series has always had very soft continuity, especially in terms of some characters are oh, why can Charles walk? Because he didn't always know how to walk, and just a lot of these weird things, and just listen, whatever. If they establish in the movie that in this particular movie that they're telling about, they can do this thing or this is what happened to these characters, just go with it. It doesn't matter if no one didn't spend the 30 minutes of The Dark Knight talking about oh my god, Rachel Dawes does not look anything like she did in Batman Begins. It's no duh. Just roll with it, okay?
Exactly.
It's
yeah.
not.
I mean, I'm willing to overlook things like that, like you just mentioned there, but I'm paying to go see a movie and have fun as best I can. I'm not gonna go in and dissect it, scene by scene. Unless it's Transformers, then yes, but there's nothing to dissect with Transformers, actually.
The thing about Transformers is that it doesn't have any characters or story, so you can tear away.
Exactly, but when it's something that's actually well written and put the time to actually formulate a good film, then why bash on it, man? Just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's really a damn shame, just because a lot of people can't enjoy it because a lot of there's just big critical trend of we don't like superhero films because there's a lot of them. It just it especially doesn't make any sense with the quality of superhero films we've been getting now these days, and just the different things that they're doing, especially a time traveling superhero film that doesn't suck. That is by itself just amazing.
That's an achievement right there. I mean, we've gone far from comic book movies, so I mean,
we've gone. The last time traveling movie that we've had was Superman 1 and 2, where he just at the last minute decides to spin in the opposite rotation of the Earth, which I have no idea how in the world that would set back time, but whatever. That's the powers he has.
Oh yeah. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm really I really want to see First Class, see how that was, and see what they do with future X-Men movies. And I mean that movie made me a fan of X-Men. I really liked it a lot.
Have you seen all the other previous movies, like X1, 2, 3, the Wolverine, Origins Wolverine?
Oh yeah, I've seen all the past movies. I've seen all of them, just except First Class. Yeah, I got to see that one day. But I've seen all of them, even Last Stand, which even this movie actually justifies.
Yeah,
Last Stand.
Everything except for why Charles is back, because like they pretty much write him off at the end of The Last Stand, where it's just like, okay, he's not coming back, and then it's like, oh well, he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't explain that anywhere, and so whatever, that's fine.
Yeah,
I still like The Last Stand for. There's parts of it I really like.
Right.
I like the ideas of like a cure for the mutant X gene, and everyone's like, and it could have been like an interesting discussion, like, is it wrong to suppress that gene if you have it, if you can't, say for instance, touch people like Rogue, or just having that kind of, is it a choice? Is it an option?
Yeah. And
that would be a very, very interesting discussion. But then it just turned into like, oh, we need to have wars over this because we need to have it end like this.
Yeah, I like the themes and ideas of that very aspect, and that was very well incorporated in this new one. I like the political aspects, and also those themes of what they should do with the mutants, and actually we got a good close, decent actor that looked like Richard Nixon, not like the guy who just they put just makeup on that was terrible in Watchmen that played Nixon.
Like nobody. Whenever anyone does Nixon, like I can forgive the Watchmen Nixon just because, like, listen, like we're not a fan of Nixon, so if you want to make him like a cartoon character, that's fine. But like even they either go very cartoony or they go like Frank Langella, where in Frost Nixon, where he looks nothing like Richard Nixon. But he's like, well, his acting is really, really good, so who cares? And and it was that nice balance between the two, like someone who actually tries to embody that actor, and all the little nods to his dogs, or the Watergate scandal recordings.
Yeah, good stuff. I like how they
incorporate
actual history with that.
They also do that with First Class, because this one is kind of concerned about the JFK shootings and what Magneto may or may not have behind it, and First Class actually deals with kind of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and that's a very, very interesting way that they play with that. But I do like the fact that they're not afraid now to have period pieces almost of superhero films, where they're going back to the 60s, 70s. I think X-Men Apocalypse is taking place at the 80s. So
very cool.
Which is the next one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, very, very good. If you haven't seen it, folks, definitely check that out. I was gonna bring up something I saw. I was watching a movie last night, just random, but I rewatched. I don't know if you ever seen the movie, but you should definitely see it. Have you ever seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang? You ever seen
Oh
that
my
movie?
God, I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh my God, I was rewatching that last night because I was thinking about how much I liked Iron Man 3, because it was Shane Black who directed it, and Robert Downey Jr. was in that as well. So oh my God, I love Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It's a great movie.
Everything was great. I love the crime aspect of all of it. I love the what was like the RoboCop Power Rangers knockoff guy who just like breaks into her home and is like drinking. I love that movie. The only small problem I have with it is the ending, where it seems like, okay, this seems like a little bit too much of a Hollywood shootout kind of ending.
Yeah.
But the rest of it's great in terms of like the unreliable narrator of Robert Downey Jr. going, oh wait, shit, I forgot to tell you about this. It's very important.
It was good. He from the very few, the very first lines that were spoken, you're right away. You're already into it, because Robert Downey Jr. is narrating, and he's just so charismatic, and definitely. I mean, that ending was it was all right for me, but definitely I mean, definitely. I guess you could see a few issues on it because he's kind of a guy. He's not as skilled with much of anything in terms of like shooting or anything detective wise compared to like a Val Kilmer's character. And then he goes in there and kills one guy, and kills two guys in that car, and then it did definitely get a little bit more actiony, but it definitely acknowledged some of those aspects in the movie. There's a lot of breaking the fourth wall, especially at the end of the movie as well. Right after that, which is funny. I mean, it's a very funny movie. It's like a dark comedy aspect to it. There is that subplot there with Michelle Monaghan's character and her sister, and what happens with her, and just at the very end with Val Kilmer showing up to the father, in his bed and just slapping the crap out of him for molesting his daughter. It was good stuff.
It's one of Val Kilmer's last great roles, where he was really really trying, and he got a really really different role for that was before he got the Orson Welles weight onto him. So it was nice to see him really really trying hard. So I hope we see that Val Kilmer come back.
Definitely. I mean, he definitely had another good movie under his belt, I think, around that time, which was Spartan. That was a good one too. He was playing like I think it was like an ex, might have been CIA or some type of agent, but that one was that was a pretty decent kind of crime thriller, and had some politics in it. That one, as vague as that may sound, but it was a good film. I actually liked that one a lot, and then after that he was a little bit in that role with Nicolas Cage in the new Bad Lieutenant movie, which I liked a lot as well. That was great.
Oh boy, yeah. I think the last really really great performance he had was, he still can't beat Tombstone. Johnny Ringo, looks like you had somebody step over your grave.
But yes, folks, I mean, we got into a lot of stuff here.
Mm-hmm. We have.
This is definitely a return to form right here with Blade Films Podcast. We got into a lot of discussions here, mainly movies. I don't think we talked about. We may talk about more, but we got a good balance. We got movies and
to be fair, games. There's the E3 stuff is starting fairly soon, so we'll finally have something to talk about when it actually comes out.
It is, man. I mean, amazing how much time flies by. I did not really have E3 on my radar until I actually went on Destructo and saw that Twitch's streaming schedule on E3 for next week.
Isn't that so weird? Where E3 used to be like the end all be all, and now it's just, oh yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely there nowadays. It's something to watch, really. I mean, I'm not really too much of a TV guy. I have my very few small list of shows I watch. I mean, there's 24, and then that's really all about it. I mean, I watch 24 and Monday Night Raw. Like, I watch wrestling on Mondays, but that's really all about it. I mean, I had Mad Men before, but now they had wrapped up their kind of mid-season finale. They're splitting up seasons like the AMC likes to do, which pisses me the hell off.
They're doing it with movies, now they're doing it with TV shows, they're going to do it with books.
Oh my god. Please don't get into that model in books. You gotta buy the other half next year. God, that would suck. I would really,
Have you seen,
really suck.
The Onion news article when it was announced that Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows was being split into two movies? The Onion did a news article where it's like, the Harry Potter Deathly Hallows is going to be split into 12 different movies. It's like an hour and a half of like 5 minutes stretched out, where it's just like Voldemort and Harry just staring at each other, just like moving their wands around, not actually doing anything, blinking. It's like, you'll never believe the experience you'll have. It's like, yeah, that kind of feels like what they're doing now, just like stretching it out to make it last longer.
It's almost like a episode of Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my god, yeah, we would take 20 episodes to finish one fight.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, I got a secret move. Yeah.
That show was nuts back in the day. But yeah, I think that's about it, folks. I mean, we got into quite a few things here. As CH mentioned, not a few games out here and there, but nothing too major to really discuss all together. I know that we've been playing our own games here. Hopefully there'll be
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls. You should play Dark Souls 2 first, but that's just me. I mean,
I should play Dark Souls 2 first.
Oh yeah. I mean, since you have it for free, I definitely give it a shot. See how far you get into it. But I actually would love to see you play it like on some stream. I would see your first reaction on your first death. It's just once you have your first death, you're definitely gonna know how this game's gonna play out for you. Once you have that first death.
So would you say Dark Souls 2 is better than 1?
I would say so in some respects. It's definitely, I hate to use the word accessible, but it really is. I mean, it's a lot more simple to get into, and I've talked about it before, but it's is the system of you getting around a lot easier than the first one. The first one, you really had to remember where you're going, and if you wanted to go back to certain places, you really had to remember where to go, which turn to make. The second one, once you arrive at a new location, it's already marked on your fast travel map, so you can just kind of hop back and forth between locations. It makes things a lot easier, just so you don't end up losing any of your souls, which is kind of your in-game currency, how you can level up and how you can purchase items and all sorts of things. But that's just me. Both of them are fantastic games on their own. They have, it definitely has its own niche market, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not a bad starting point. But if you ever get the chance, Dark Souls 2 is actually my favorite of that series. But it's good. But Dark Souls 1 is good too.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'll give both of them a try, and but unfortunately, since I've got this one for free, I'll try to get through that one first, and then get on to the next one.
See how far, because I never beaten it. So Dark Souls 2 I did, but that first one I didn't. But well, yeah, I'd like to hear your report on it once you get the chance to play it. But other than that, folks, I think this has been quite an episode here. One episode 151 here, folks, on Blade Club's podcast. All I will say to conclude this one, I will be heavily enjoying some more Cowboy Bebop since I bought the DVD collection here. We'll be watching some more episodes of Cowboy Bebop. That's going to be my thing I'm going to do tonight, and I will wish you all the best. You have a fantastic day, folks. I'll be signing off, and you see as you can take over on your end and finish off this episode.
Okay, well, for myself, I am polishing off some episodes of Farscape and Mystery Science Theater 3000. If you have Netflix, please see The Final Sacrifice, which is one of the funniest episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000 I've ever seen. I'm also going to try to complete Dark Souls. Not easier said than done, I know. Watch Dogs, get a little bit more info on that. Check out our podcast on iTunes. Check out our blog spot. Go to the Better Gaming Bureau and check us out there. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I'll see you all next time, and we enjoyed hearing from you, and we'll talk to you later.